Today we're going to pick up where we left off. We're going to be trying to connect with an L32E processor, but we have no idea what the IP address is. So at this point we're going to go through connecting with a serial connection, finding out its IP, potentially changing its IP, or changing the IP of our computer to see it. So first, we will make sure that we have both lights present on the hub, so we can see that our computer is talking to the hub and the PLC is talking to the hub. And we see also on the PLC that its link light is flashing, which means it has a good connection. And if we come back over, we can look at links, and we go into our ETH IP. We know it's loading because of the dancing lights, but we see nothing. Now that can mean various things, but we do know at this point we are not configured to the right IP address to see this. So not seeing anything makes sense. So our first steps we'll be going through is making sure our serial port connector is going to work. The first thing you always need to do is to go into the control panel, hardware and sound, device manager, and then under device manager you have ports. We have a bunch of extra ports, but we also have our keyspan USB serial port, COM9, and that is what we are using. So we can minimize, and we'll be talking with the DF1 driver. We see nothing right now, but we need to make sure we configure this driver, and we do have currently on the right port, so it's on COM9. And the very important thing when using this particular device to connect to a PLC is, yes, it is a serial connection, but they actually give you mail on this, and it is mail out of the PLC. So a normal cable that is male-female gets you to a place where it cannot connect. It becomes important to have, it's just a gender changer. It lets you connect two males together. So we're connected. And usually with this, you want to always auto-configure this driver so it's talking in such a way it can see each other. So we'll go through the auto-config process. And though it jumping away like that is not normal, it's usually not good. So we can see it failed, check the cable, and switch settings. Now it failing could be a number of things. Your cable could be bad, you could have a bad connection, but here you need to always be sure to try a null modem, because you potentially need that between two devices. So if we disconnect, put the null for this instance between the gender changer and the key span, and we try to auto configure, auto configuration successful. We tell it OK, and now we can open this tree and we see we have our processor. Now this is a valid way to talk to it, but it's always good to know all the ways to talk to. So we can go down through the processor, see the backplane, see the processor, and we're looking here at, we are looking at the Ethernet port. And then when you right click the Ethernet port, you can go to its module configuration. And we can go to port configuration. And this is telling us it has a static IP, and this is the IP it's set to, is 212.3.2.90.25. And as the first one, in general the mask will stay 255, 255, 255, 0. So our easiest process is to open up our command prompt, use our ipconfig command again, see that our IP address is 192.168.1.135. So we should be on what we would normally keep our IP on. So we can go into here and change the Ethernet port of the device to 192.168.1, and we can leave that on 25. We'll apply, and it gives you this warning, because this is a very important warning. Changing the IP address can change its ability to talk to things, because we couldn't talk to it through IP without being compatible, just like everything else can't talk to it without being compatible. So it's important on a network of devices, if you're changing the IP of one of them, to think that it's probably not going to talk to anything else anymore. We tell it yes. It's going through changing the IP address. Hit apply again just to be sure. Tell it OK. Let's minimize our DF1. And if we go into our IP, we can see we have found the Ethernet card of this again, like we had last time. We can tunnel through the backplane, see it again. In this particular way of finding the IP, making it usable, or in the other instance, changing our IP to be compatible. Because more often you're going to need to change your IP, like we changed our IP in the first video, to be compatible to a network. Because, like we said, when you change a device's IP, you potentially drop it off of speaking to other objects. This particular fix of changing its IP and seeing its IP through links is not only specific to an L32E, but it is specific to this newer style. So on our next video, we will show you a very similar process, but we'll actually be opening the RsLogix software to find out what its IP address is as part of its program. Thank you.